Greetings and welcome to Maladek the Wizard's YouTube channel. Today we're doing a little special something. This is Maladek Does Reviews, a new series in which I and some of my special friends,
me, Catch and Quick,
review some indie games, some AAA games, and a load of other stuff. Come along for the ride. Today's game I got for free, Moss Destruction. Today we're going to be reviewing a game called Moss Destruction. This game was both developed and published by the studio Shotgun with Glitters. The main aim of this roguelike action game is to move through each level, upgrading your mech, your weapons, and pretty much anything else you can. You've got aesthetic upgrades, random upgrades, short-time upgrades. It's a really interesting way they do that. It was released at the end of March.
But now it's the end of August, so it's had quite a bit of time to, for updates, patches, because you said, at the beginning there were a few glitches and bugs that needed to be sorted out.
It wasn't quite playable at the beginning. I remember the first time I played it, I went to look at the control layout, and looking at the control layout stopped any controls. It wipes the control layout so that none of the controls did anything in the game, including escape. You couldn't leave. You had to Alt F4 to get out of it. It was a very questionable decision.
Well, I never played back then, but now I looked at the controls just to give me an idea of what I needed to actually do to actually play the game, and it was perfectly fine. But I personally think it's a really good game. However, there are a few things about the performance that we do need to, talk about.
Very true, and we'll get onto that just a little bit later, Catch. So for now, we're going to start with level design, and I've got to admit, the amount that I've played, which is around the middle of World 2, end of World 2, I would have gotten further, but we're not gonna talk about that today. I'm very good at this game, so clearly, it must be lag, right? The more you progress through, the more you'll see a wide variety of enemies, all that kind of stuff. It's really well designed, I think, in that. Especially the animations given to the enemies. They all feel quite unique, and their deaths, their attack animations are all really quite good, I've got to admit. It really does. The audio-visual feedback you get when you kill an enemy is very, very rewarding and satisfying to see.
Yeah, definitely is. I've played, through level 1 and about halfway through level 2 before I died eventually, because I prefer just running around shooting. Sometimes I forget you actually have to get to an exit.
So many times that happens. It sounds stupid, but you do forget. You're like, oh, yeah, there's an exit.
This is an actual game,
and by the time you get to the exit, it's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
You did, brother.
There is an endless mode, which we have no idea what it's like because neither of us unlocked it yet. So we're thinking maybe you have to go through the whole game.
We're definitely going to try and get through the game. At least one of us is going to have to get there and then let the other one use it. If it changes our opinion drastically of the game, feel free to drop that follow on Twitter so you can see what our opinions are later on. I'm thinking in about a month or so's time I should have unlocked it. Maybe even sooner than that. But of course, to do that, you're going to need to know our Twitter handles. It's @wizard_Maladek and
Catch Me Chirping.
Exactly. So don't forget to drop us those follows on Twitter, see our opinions, see some crazy outtakes and bloopers from this very video. I'm sure he'll have found something to make fun of me with. Anyway, back to the review. Favorite enemy? Do you have one, or favorite weapon maybe? Something like that.
It's got to be the spider. The spider, in my opinion, is, he's terrified.
I'm terrified of spiders. No wonder he likes them.
Well, they're very big, they're quite slow, easy to kill, but at the same time, when they do hit you, they do some damage.
Yeah, they sting like a lot. That is, it's a nasty enemy if you get caught by it. On the same vein of melee enemies, I've got my least favorite enemy, which is the stage 1 and 2 tends to be appearing in. Pink, kind of tall, lanky guy. I'm thinking Slenderman-esque, who is allegedly a melee enemy, though the amount of time it takes him to attack.
Yeah, it's a bit. You have to wait at least a second or two before it's like, oh wait, I need to attack you. Forgot about that.
And sort of on that vein, some of the AI in the game does feel kind of stupid. Like, an enemy might start following you, especially in World 2, it's more prevalent in the mazes, and he'll just sort of wait around the corner and forget about you. I'm not kidding, it's really immersion breaking, especially if you're trying to wait for him to follow you so you can gun him down around the corner. He just goes...
So basically, it's the GTA police.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, literally, it's the GTA police, that's it.
Well, it's stage 1, so you can't really expect them to come along and one-shot you instantly, because I think that would be a bit...
It's true, but when you're a professional gamer like me...
Fucking alcoholic!
You need things to be a bit difficult. So the game's not particularly leisurely. It does allow you to explore, which is quite a nice thing in the early part of the levels. However, there is a sort of a time limit, and if you wait outside too long, without getting to the exit, things go dark, and the horde descends.
Well, time limit is kind of like a more fluid sort of thing. It's like basic terms. There's like Minecraft day and night. It comes and it goes, but the hordes will spawn more frequently. There'll be more enemies, so it's a lot harder. And the night doesn't make the screen go black. It's more of, in the first world it's more of a red, and in the second it was more of a blue.
It was more of a blue.
The third world we have no idea. We haven't even made it yet. Yes,
One
is
day.
the key word.
One day we're gonna make it there and we're gonna win it.
We will at some point, but it's there isn't really a standard clock, as in we didn't time it.
No, it might
I
be
think we
a
should
certain
be able-
amount of time, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
there's nothing on the UI to give you a warning that nighttime is coming. It just starts getting darker, and when it gets darker, you have pretty much 10 seconds to run to the thing before the horde starts spawning,
Yeah, well, you just got to fight your way through.
which I found to be fairly inefficient. Most of the time, if nighttime descends and I haven't found the exit yet, I'm not going to make it to the exit in that run. It's, I don't think there's much... I like the mechanic, but I don't think there's much benefit to the player to staying out at night.
Well, it could be because of the character you use, because you use one of the characters that's quite slow, while I use a
Maybe.
character that has extra movement speed.
This
so
is true, this is
that
true.
might affect the gameplay, and we'll cover characters later on.
There is, though, a limit on how much XP you can grind, so even if you stay out for a long time, you can't level up past a certain... I think you can get 2 levels in one area, so you literally, you are locked behind that if you stay out at night.
Okay.
If you stay out too long, you're only going to be able to get the crystals and some other like weapon upgrades / rewards or whatever.
I hadn't realised that, actually, to be honest.
So there are character rewards for leveling up, which is fairly similar to the way Dead Cells does it, where you get to the end of a stage and you can spend all your points, or in this instance you get 1 point for either a perk card or a supply drop, which will give you ammo and health and whatnot, or a specific upgrade per level that you've gained during that stage. So if you go to from level 1 to level 2, you get a perk card. It's a very good system. I quite like it, if I'm honest. It makes you, it gives you a bit of a reward for finishing a level over just the kind of standard going to the next level.
Yeah, with the leveling up, it definitely makes you, a sense of achievement that you're able to get a perk that will benefit you in many ways. For example, there's one benefit perk that will get rid of all of the traps and stuff, or like orb traps, which can really negatively affect you. For example, the lead boots.
Lead boots on you must be nasty, actually, with your playstyle.
Because my playstyle is zooming around, being quite quick. And you get lead boots, and especially because the way it works is when you first get it, you have no idea what it is. But once you've used it once, you know what it is for the future, and it will actually let you know.
It's basically the Pills in Binding of Isaac, for those of you who've played that game.
Yeah, you basically play a bit of a lottery card. It's definitely a pain, because a few times I have died because of the lead boots. I was running around thinking, oh, this might, because there's one orb that turns everything into worms.
Yes, that's fun.
That is amazing.
That's a fun orb.
But of course, I thought, okay, hopefully I might get lucky. Nope, lead boots.
Are you sure that's the upgrade you wanted?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty cool.
You better be sure, because if it's not, and this is probably my least favourite feature of the game, when you're on the perk screen, and we'll be showing that as we're speaking, I think, if you select the wrong one by accident, you can still see all the perk cards with the one you've selected there. You cannot undo selecting it in that screen. I'm not mad that you can't change it later on, but the fact that you can't undo it in a screen where you can still see all the perk cards you could have picked, and yet you have to press a button to make it go to the next level, that annoys me more than it should.
Yeah, because it's basically sitting and laughing at you if you screw up.
It's literally staring at you going, oh, you wanted this perk card? This perk card is grayed out!
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but hey ho.
You know what?
Mistakes happen.
So we've spoken a little bit about ammo supplies, and yes, in this game you have 4 different ammo types, and each weapon will correspond to one of those ammo types. There's about 3 or 4 weapons per ammo type.
Yeah, that sounds about right. For example, the bullets, the sniper, the minigun, and
The shotgun.
and the shotgun as well. And there's also the double pulse. I don't know what it's called.
Pulse rifle for the energy weapons, and you've got plasma launchers, flamethrower launchers, grenade launchers. There's a lot of variety, and all the weapons. It's not just like weapons for weapons' sake. They all feel different and give you a really different playstyle, which is actually really beneficial to the game, because you really can take your character and make him your own by picking I tend to run with high area of effect weapons, whereas you tend to go with more low damage but high high capacity rounds. You know.
Definitely, because Dr. Gizmos is the character that I love, because it might have less health, but you can run around very quickly. He's extremely OP when you use the minigun. As long as you have the perk where you can get half, uses half the amount of bullets, because you do shred through them very quickly. Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's the best one for me.
Of course, he's wrong, because the best one, and a character I think some people can relate to, he's a big fat guy. I can't actually remember what his name is, but he's the big fat one. He moves slowly and he's got very high health.
Well, he clearly can't be that good if you can't remember his name.
I don't need to know his name. I just need to know he's great. He's not wrong. So I'm going to put it bluntly. In terms of storyline, this game, it's non-existent. Like, there's lots of diverse characters, there's no real reason those characters are there, I find. Like, I just can't, there's no storyline.
I mean, yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from, because partway through the game I was thinking, wait, why am I actually playing this? But at the same time, I wasn't really too worried about it, because in that sort of game, in my opinion, you don't really need to know too much, because you're there to basically just shoot up the enemies, and try and have as much fun as possible.
I agree with you in part. It's just, as you know, I quite like drawing on other roguelikes to try and see what's going on. Stuff like Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells it's not like a super complex story, but there is like a little bit of story element in there. It makes I feel like it's important to know why you're shooting things. Like, are we on an alien planet? Has this alien planet been invaded? What is the main character doing? Is it the communists? Exactly. Like, I've got to, when I'm playing a game like this, I need to have some semblance of who I'm embodying and who I'm fighting and why. I don't need like, cinematic cutscenes or anything. I just like to have a little bit of a semblance of what's going on. Now's the awkward moment. As promised, I'm going to discuss the performance side of Monster Destruction. The game running on its own, nothing in the background, with a 4th generation Core i7, a GTX 1070, I was facing issues with about 1 in 4 enemies, where the game, on killing those enemies, would stutter for no reason. And I'm pretty sure that is the game side and not my side. I've had that issue both on my main desktop PC and my laptop, which is again another Core i7 7th gen, I do believe, with a GTX 1050 Ti. There's no real reason this hardware should be struggling to run this game. So it's got to be it's got to be game side.
And I use a Ryzen 3700X with a GTX 1060 with 6 gigs of RAM, and I game at 1080p. And I was facing the same issues with the stuttering, and I had the game crash on me twice. Once was the first world, level 5, I was going through one of the blue gates, suddenly stopped responding. There was like no error code or anything, so I can't show that. It was just like not responding. And also another time when I was just playing the game, just having a little chill session late at night, and it just suddenly stopped. There was no particular reason why. There was no correlation, because this happened in. It was still the first world, but in like level 1, level 2, stage 1, because I was going on one of my mad rampages. And yeah, it's kind of annoying, because I just want to sit back, relax, enjoy the game. Suddenly it crashes on me, and you should if you look on the YouTube channel, about a video or two before, you would have seen the vlog of my brand new build. I'm using my new build on this computer. I've spent so much money on it, and it just crashes on not an intensive game.
It's really not an intensive game.
It's crashing.
Yeah, there's no obviously every so often you're gonna get a game crashing. It's not we're used to it. We've played Fallout 76, and I've got to say, this game don't crash as much as that one.
I haven't, to be honest.
Have you not played it?
No, I don't want to waste my money.
It's not that bad. It's actually quite fun with friends, but it's gotten a lot better since its release. I can say that much. That's beside the point. Monster Destruction just has a lot of little elements of it, I think, that make it really irritating. It's not like massive bugs. Obviously a crash bug is annoying, but it's not every time you play, so it's not like that. It's just there's a lot of little elements here and there, and you're just like, I'm annoyed now.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about a grenade. If you launch it through the wall, sometimes we physically go through the wall.
That's true.
Bounces back and kills you.
That's probably the worst physics bug I have. It's meant to.
Actually had that, but-
So it's to do with pro mechanics, because I'm a pro gamer. But basically, the grenades, you can shoot them at a wall and they bounce off and they'll go on to a direction. But sometimes if you hit the corner of the wall at the wrong angle, instead of bouncing off, they will go through the wall, bounce off whatever's behind that, and then bounce back through the wall as if there's not a wall there. And in my instance, straight into me. It's little things like that just make you think, I was trying to do something kind of cool here, and for 80-90% of the game, it's fine. And then there's just that one area where it breaks, and you're like, this feels like a little bit, it's just a bit sloppy in terms of its physics there. That bug, I have to say, was repeatable, because I did it twice in a row, and that's why I lost that run. I just thought, oh, well, the first time, okay, fair enough, it's a bug. I was like, oh, it's actually just going to keep happening. So, and, the AI is also, it's not bad, but there are, as I said before, the first melee enemy, it just takes about an hour before it decides to hit you. I think that's intentional, so it's not really a bug, but additionally in some of the maze levels you get in World 2, you'll end up with enemies that will start following you, and then you go around a corner to wait for them so you can gun them down, and they will just sit just on the edge bit, not gun around the corner so you can't get them, which forces you to go towards them, and they are instantly able to snap you, and then you take a little bit of damage there. It doesn't feel reasonable for an AI to just kind of stop for no reason. I think some of this might be mitigated with a difficulty setting. So, like, you could set it to being a harder difficulty overall, and therefore the AI might be a little bit smarter or something. I think that would definitely be something to improve for the future of the game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that was one thing I was a bit, I was looked in the settings, because I know most games have easy, normal, and hard. So
Yeah.
I wanted to, change it from, because normally they come at easy,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to change it to normal, hard, but there wasn't a setting, so a bit annoyed by that, because, I like to have a hard game and still try and run through lays and everything.
And he likes to record himself showing that he's playing it on hard and then record all this footage in easy to make himself look really good at games. But realistically, it would have been a nice addition. I think it still could be a nice addition. If Shotgun with Glitters are watching this, put a difficulty slider in, please. Please. So the last area we're going to be looking at today in terms of core gameplay is the audio. Now, as a musician myself, this is probably one of the most important things I find in a game, is whether its soundtrack and its music and all that kind of stuff really gel, and Moss Destruction doesn't hit that. It really doesn't. The music for, like, maybe the first 5 minutes of the game is kind of cool, but because there's no real variation in the music, it really gets grating, and it's quite loud and punchy. With a game like this, you want to have it a little bit quieter and more background-style music, because the music isn't meant to be a core part of the experience, so the fact it's so in your face is actually one of the reasons why sometimes I have to stop playing, because it's just really aggravating after a while. There's no kind of change from whether there's a billion enemies on the screen to 5 enemies on the screen. It's not like some games where you'll find the more enemies there are, or even I don't even think there's a particular change to like the nighttime being any sort of more upbeat or something. What do you think?
Well, the music for me it was kind of a bit weird, because you have intense music when you have no enemies around you. Then you have really chilled, laid-back music when you're basically fighting for your life and your last health.
There was a lot of dissonance.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I ended up muting it.
Yeah?
Make my own music. So.
I won't lie, if you do get Moss Destruction, do that. Another area of the sound that I think we can go for, and probably actually, we've been a little bit negative so far on the sound, the audio for the weapons. Now, this is an area that Moss Destruction, I think actually it would be safe to say that the weapons as a whole are something Moss Destruction absolutely nails. From the variety of weapons to the way it changes your playstyle, all of that is absolutely beautifully done, and the audio is no different. The audio for the weapons, each weapon kind of feels a little bit different. It feels really responsive, and it's just right. The weapon sounds, they're just right.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with like the minigun, we keep coming back to it.
He loves the minigun.
But it's weapon of my choice, preferably, because you really do. It looks and fires like a normal minigun, but also it sounds really good. Also with the plasma rifles as well, it does. You really do like get into like the weapons and stuff. I think seems to be more the focus of the game for me.
And I think it would be fair to say all the sounds kind of fit well together. It doesn't feel like they've got... Because some games you'll end up with, oh, that gun sounds really good, but it doesn't kind of fit with another gun, whereas this game, Moss Destruction really does manage to make all the weapon sounds fit well to... Like, it's very thematic. All the weapons have a sound profile, if you like, that really melds well with any other weapon that you might choose, which I think is a really nice thing and something that I maybe wasn't expecting from a game like this.
Let's go straight into this with the price. The price is £10.90 on Steam. However, I think this is a bit too much for the game in its current state, because I think it's a really good game. There are, as we've stated previously, there are quite a few issues with it that we're personally finding, especially with the performance and the stuttering. And I think the price should be reduced or get it when it's on sale.
Yeah. Personally, I'd wait for it to go on sale. I'm kind of basing this on other games of the genre. You can pick up The Binding of Isaac, the original one, for around about £5, which, this game clearly has a lot of inspiration from that game. Like the way the mechanics work and stuff, and I honestly can't quite see enough of a leap in quality to justify over double the price of a game like The Binding of Isaac, which still holds up really well today.
Yeah, I would personally pay a maximum of £8 or £7.99, because that's where normally games of this genre are normally placed.
Especially when they're new. Yeah,
it's a newer game, and the original Binding of Isaac is quite old, isn't it? So
that's true. Graphically, I think this game is a little bit more intense, though the art style... Actually, to be fair, the art style... Yeah, no, I quite like the art style of both. I think I prefer the art style of Binding of Isaac, but that is definitely a personal preference thing. There's nothing really wrong with the art style, I don't think, of Moss Destruction.
I've seen you stream it and edited your streams, so I prefer this one to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. So I think it's probably now time that we come to a close and tell you our final thoughts and our final score for a game such as Moss Destruction. For me, it's going to be a solid 5. And I want you guys to know that that's not just based on the game, that's also based on the current price, because when you are demanding the £10 or over price point, I think you open yourself up to a lot more scrutiny. And some of the things that you might accept in a game that's a little bit cheaper, I just don't think it's acceptable in a game like this for stutter on enemies, every couple of times you kill them on, let's be honest, decently beefy high-end rigs. I honestly don't think that's acceptable in a game that's charging you over £10 to play it. So I'm going to have to go with a 5.
My score is 5.5, so it's fairly similar. I had more of an enjoyable experience in Steam. The reason why is because of the gameplay. If I wasn't including the price, I'll probably do it like a 6.5 to 7 maybe.
And I was willing to go up to 6 actually if it was a cheaper price. I think that's fair as a whole, because I look at it as the kind of game you put on your gaming laptop when you don't really want to eat all of its battery life and you just want something to chill with. It's not a game you're going to go for 10-hour intensive sessions on, I don't think, but it's the kind of game you pick up when you just want to chill for like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. You want to go through a run or a couple of runs. It's the kind of game you can find yourself sinking time into by accident, because you get to the end of a run, you're like, oh, maybe if I do it one more time, or maybe if I try this, or, oh, that didn't feel fair. It's got that kind of just one more go vibe to it.
Yeah, it's like when you're in, you're in.
You're in. And I think, definitely, if you guys get this game, I'm not saying you won't enjoy it. I want to make that clear. I think there is a lot of enjoyment to be had here. I just think the asking price would put me off from personally buying it at £10.90. I can't see that I'd put it in, but as you say, between the £5 to £8 market, I reckon I could have been tempted, and I reckon you guys should be too. So thanks guys for watching this, our first ever review in this style of an indie game. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and even hit that notification bell button if you like. The link to buy this game will be in the description. It'll be a Steam link. And if you really want to hear a little bit more from myself or Catch, then you can follow me on @wizard_Maladek, links in description, and
@CatchMeChirping.
links in the description. Please drop a comment, let us know what we can do better next time, any other games you want to see, and if you've got some developer friends that you think might like us to try out their game, don't hesitate to send them over my way. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.